Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello students, welcome to the Electrical Engineering YouTube channel. This lecture is going to be extremely important for those students who have submitted an article to a journal and they are expecting a review anytime soon. So for research students, for example, masters and PhD or doctoral students, publishing a research article is becoming more and more important because upon publishing the research article in any impact factor journal, the chances for those students to get scholarship for higher studies or for completing their PhDs actually is enhanced. So this lecture is going to be very important for such students. So in this lecture, I am going to explain how to revise a journal article, and there are few fundamental steps which you have to consider before preparing the response letter. So response letter is actually a letter which is prepared when you are going to submit the revision of your manuscript. So whenever you submit a manuscript, there are four possibilities or there are four outcomes which you can expect from the editorial board. Either the paper is rejected by the editor, this is called editorial rejection. The second possibility is that your paper went to the peer review process, but the reviewers who actually reviewed your manuscript, they rejected your article. So whenever you receive such a result from the editorial board, then there is nothing you can do about modifying your manuscript. The only possibility left is uh, improving your manuscript on your own and find some other suitable journal where you can publish your article. But if you consider the third possibility, then the third possibility is that you have received a major revision on your manuscript. And the fourth possibility is the simplest outcome from the editorial board, and it is the requirement of a minor revision. So I will discuss these two scenarios. So if you have received a major revision, then how you can address all the comments by the reviewers. And if you have received a minor revision, then what will be your action? So first of all, I will discuss the general idea how to uh, prepare the response letter and what are the fundamental points which have to be kept in mind before preparing the revision. And then I will show you the example of both these cases. So if you have received a major revision, then how we can prepare the major revision and how we can modify our manuscript. Similarly, if we have received a minor revision, how will the minor revision be received via email and how we will prepare the response letter. So these are the fundamental points which are extremely important before preparing the revision. So first of all, you have to prepare a starting response letter of maximum one page. So in the response letter, this is the starting page at which you will just introduce the remarks which are asked by the reviewer. So I will show you an example of a response letter. So this is a template which I have already made for addressing the revisions of my manuscripts. And here you will specify the date and you can write these lines as the first page material or as the first page content of the response letter. And from the second page, you will actually start addressing all the comments from the reviewers. So start addressing the comments from the reviewers from second page. Address and respond to every single comment in a polite and convincing manner, even if the comment is simple. So sometimes the reviewers ask very simple action from your side. Make necessary changes in the manuscript if you agree with the reviewer and mention the place, for example, page number, paragraph number, and line number. So whenever you are going to respond to the reviewer comment in a positive way, you will have to do the necessary changes in the manuscript, and in the response letter, you will have to specify the position at which you have made the changes. So that position indicator will contain the page number, paragraph number, and the line number. Another point is that if you don't agree with a comment, just politely justify it without complying. So you don't have to comply to the reviewer's comment, and you will just argue with the reviewer, and you will justify that what you have done in the manuscript is correct. So there is no problem with that. Another point is that put your maximum possible effort to revise the manuscript, even if you feel that you are unable to convince the reviewer. So sometimes the reviewer asks to verify the fundamental principle of that topic, and you feel if you feel that you will be unable to convince the reviewer with the help of experiment or with the help of the simulation, you must put maximum possible effort to revise the manuscript and to convince the reviewer. Even if you feel that the reviewer will straight away reject my proposal, still you should put all your effort to convince the reviewer. Sometimes the reviewers asks uh, you some question whose answers are not known by the reviewers. They are actually asking such questions just to increase their knowledge, or it is possible that the reviewer might be stuck in his own research at that point, and sometimes he may ask you and he may put a harsh comment on your manuscript just to enhance his knowledge and just to get the answer of the questions which he has from his research. So even if you are unable to convince the reviewer, he will not straight away reject your article. Okay, so this is very important thing. So for all the comments, you have to put all your possible effort to convince the reviewer. Another thing is that never ever try to add false results just to convince the reviewer. So this is actually termed as the academic dishonesty, which must be prohibited by all the researchers. You should always have respect for the scientific community, because what you are doing in your research and what field you are exploring, it will be used as a prerequisite, or it will be used as a foundation for the future researchers. If you have put false or misleading information, that will create problem for the future researchers. So try to perform the simulations or experiments if asked for more conclusive justification. So if you have received a comment from the reviewer such that he is asking you for more conclusive justification, and you know that you can perform the simulations and experiments just to convince the reviewer, then you should perform. At this point, you shouldn't keep yourself away from doing the hard work just to save your time, or just to, due to the reason that you are involved in another research article or another research experiments, because it may spoil your current research work which for which you have already obtained the revision. So this is also a very important point. Even if the experiments in revision phase don't produce convincing results, discuss them in the response letter. So if you have put some results in the manuscript, but the reviewer has asked to elaborate more on the results by performing more experiments, and even if you know that the results of those experiments won't be according to the reviewer's mind, then you should perform the experiments, and you should put the results in the response letter, because those results will be probably weakening your demonstration of the manuscript. So just put those results in your response letter and discuss them, and say to the reviewer that maybe since these results are not according to what I have presented in my paper, so that's why I refrain myself from adding these results in my manuscript. Finally, if the reviewer asks for advanced study, you may write that it is not within the scope of this work. I will consider it in my follow-up research. So sometimes you have submitted an article and the reviewer is not satisfied with the contribution you have put in the paper. So he may ask for more experiments, and if you think that the results of those experiments will further lengthen your manuscript, then it is better to avoid adding these results to this current manuscript. For example, if your manuscript has been forwarded to three or four reviewers and three reviewers has have accepted your manuscript, but one reviewer is asking for more experiments and adding more results, it may disturb the response which you have prepared for other three reviewers. So it is better to avoid complying to the comments from this fourth reviewer, and at that point you may write that it is not within the scope of my work and I will consider it in my follow-up research. So these are the fundamental points which I wanted to discuss before you are going to prepare the response letter of your manuscript. Now I will show you how to address the comments from the reviewer. So now this is the first example of a manuscript. I submitted this manuscript a little while ago, and on 2nd January 2023 I received the revision of this manuscript, and that manuscript actually received some minor revision, and it was written that that manuscript is accepted for publication in after the minor revision. So the editor has written the authors should respond to all the comments before submitting the final version of the paper, and we can see all the comments from the reviewers, and this is the first reviewer. They are all minor comments, and in these comments the reviewer is actually asking to do minor modifications in the manuscript. So there is nothing to worry about whenever you have received such a decision in which minor revision is specified, then it means your manuscript is actually published after small corrections. So for this manuscript, I actually prepared the response letter, which you can see on this page, and you can also write the same lines as the first page content of your response letter. And these are the comments from all the reviewers. So first of all, I will discuss the comments from the first reviewer, and this is the first comment, and this is my answer. And these are the changes which I have done in the manuscript. So that manuscript was actually prepared using the latex editor, and I will show you that this is the online latex editor using overleaf, and these are the modifications. So in the first comment, it is uh, written that instead of using solar plant, it is better to replace it with PV. So I have done this modification at the first page, and this modification is also copied in the response letter. And here you can see that in page 1 paragraph 2 these are the revised keywords, and all the other keywords are kept same, and only the first keyword for which the reviewer has requested the modification has been changed. Now whenever you are going to change your manuscript, never ever delete or replace any word or any sentence in your manuscript. So when you are preparing the revision of your manuscript, whatever you want to delete from your manuscript, you have to strike through that content, and whatever you are adding into the manuscript, you have to highlight it using the red color. So you can see these modifications in this manuscript. I wanted to delete the solar plant, so I have used strike through command in the manuscript. Okay, so this is the latex strike through command. Similarly, I wanted to add this new word PV, so this new word PV has been added in red. Similarly, these other comments can be seen and read by you by pausing the video, and you will be able to see that first of all, I have written the question or I have written the comment from the reviewer. Then I have replied in a polite way to the reviewer's comment. Then I have done the modification in the manuscript uh, after specifying the page and the paragraph number. So the whole of this manuscript has been revised according to the comments from the reviewer, and this is my final version of the revised manuscript. So when I go through this manuscript, you can see red colored words and some strike throughs uh, across all the manuscript. So the reason is that when you submit your revised manuscript in the online journal submission system, the editor and all the reviewers actually want to see what you have changed. So if you use these strike throughs and these red colored text, it will be very easy for them to check whether all the comments have been addressed and how they have been addressed. So this is very important thing. Okay, so this is the whole manuscript which has been revised in this way. So as a second example, I will show you what to do if we receive a major revision on a manuscript. So you can see this is the title of my second manuscript, which has been asked for a major revision. And if we receive a major revision for a manuscript, then such an email will be received. So, dear, thank you for submitting your manuscript to Helion Journal. We have completed the review of it, and the reviewers recommend major revisions are required before publication can be considered. So, these are the comments from the reviewers. Okay, so this is uh, these are the comments from the first reviewer. These are the comments from the second reviewer, and these are the comments from the third reviewer. Here you can see that there is no novelty in the reported work. In addition, I have following queries. So by looking at such a comment from the reviewer, the first thing which will come to your mind is that probably my paper has been rejected because one reviewer is actually is not satisfied with the novelty in this work. So this actually is not the way how we consider it. So whenever we receive such a comment from any of the reviewers, never ever try to panic because it will spoil whole of your hard work, whole of your research activity, and it will also cause wastage of your time for which you have waited during the submission and the review process. So always keep self confidence and always be positive. Always consider that you will be able to satisfy and you will be able to convince all the reviewers with your convincing remarks. So these comments have been received by all the three reviewers, and for this paper, I have prepared again the response letter. Again, this is the first page of the response letter. Okay, so this response letter is actually prepared by the corresponding author of the manuscript. And for this article, the name of the corresponding author has been specified. And this is the logo which is actually representing the institute which the corresponding author belongs to. So for this article, the corresponding author is myself, and this is the logo of my institute. Similarly, this is the logo of the institute, and the corresponding author actually belongs to this institute. Again, you can see that these are the reviewers' comments, and this reviewer has asked for few numerical data in the abstract. So I have put all the numerical data in the abstract. Okay, so this is the answer to the first comment, and these are the changes which have been made in the abstract of this manuscript. And this manuscript was actually prepared in Microsoft Word, and you can see that these changes have been made in the abstract. Similarly, this is the second comment, and these are the replies of this comment, and these are the modifications which have been made. Since this is a paper which has received a major revision, so substantial changes have to be made to convince the reviewers. So in this manuscript, you will see extensive changes, and you will see extensive use of strike throughs and red colored additions. So almost more than 50% of the manuscript has been modified when I prepared the revision of this manuscript. And we can also check the other comments from the worthy reviewers. Conclusion must be concise and focused, so corrected. So conclusion has also been modified. Similarly, incorporate future scope of the work. So the future scope has also been added to the conclusion section of the manuscript. And this comment requires tabular analysis, and tabular analysis has also been added to the manuscript. So whenever you receive a major revision of your manuscript, you have to work extensively on preparing the revisions. Even if any of the reviewers has specified that your manuscript doesn't contain sufficient novelty, still you should put all of your effort in preparing the revision. So these are all the comments which have been added to the manuscript, and this is the revised manuscript, and the revision of this manuscript has also been submitted to the journal, and we are not sure if this paper will be accepted or not. So we are also waiting for the final outcome of this manuscript for a long time. So that is all about my today's demonstration on preparing the revision of a manuscript which is submitted to the journal article. Hopefully you have enjoyed the content of this lecture, and I hope it will be useful for you in future. For watching more similar videos, please stay tuned to this YouTube channel. Until the next lecture, it's goodbye.